If you're new to the show, we don't do it all the time, but at the top, this is the #1 car-related podcast on planet Earth. We talk about car news, predictions, but more importantly, we give you a good hang each and every Monday. Nick, I got a phrase for you, all right?
Like and subscribe. Is that the phrase?
Subscribe, please. I have a phrase for you, Nick, and everybody play along, but I got a phrase, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when you hear this phrase, okay? Introducing the 2030 Lincoln Laptor, the first luxury Raptor.
Yeah. I did see this week.
Really? Okay.
What a no-brainer for a brand that's struggling, right? So how they pull this off is what we all got to wonder. But this has been the no-brainer. Lincoln is kind of lagging in a lot of areas. There's no excitement in the brand. This is exciting. I also think it's worth saying, I'm not saying a bunch of people are going to buy them, but this is excitement. You know, let's not forget the Lincoln Blackwood.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a truck that should have never existed. It definitely should have never come out, but they did. They created some excitement, albeit very brief with that one.
They made like 700 of those. They made really limited amount.
Yeah. I mean, because nobody wanted them. I mean, by the way, just a power tonneau cover, if that goes out, like what you have to deal with. But go back, there was a car that I loved from Lincoln. It was called the Lincoln LS. I don't know if you remember that four-door sedan back in the day. I thought it was, and I got to drive those because obviously I was working in places that would get them, and I thought it was a fantastic sedan. You know, even in the moment, I thought it was a fantastic sedan. Even when I see them now, which is very rare, I'm like, it still looks good.
Dude, you're absolutely right. And what's funny about Lincoln is that we've brought them up, now come to think of it, more times than the average car brand. And it's always with like, we know somebody that has one, or maybe you've worked on one for
Yeah, we just took delivery of a brand new Navigator.
Oh, a brand new one? You were also, you had a what was it? Was it a Nautilus?
I had a Nautilus in the shop recently. I'm not as impressed driving the Nautilus.
Sure.
I think that's also what Lincoln struggles with, but I think it's what a lot of brands are struggling with right now is sort of like an identity crisis.
Yeah.
You know, the Nautilus doesn't feel like a traditional Lincoln on the inside. It doesn't feel quite right. The power plant is way off, in my opinion, as well when you drive it around, but still a nice enough vehicle. I think Lincoln needs some hype. I mean, so if this gives them some hype around the brand, I think it's what a lot of consumers miss, is that some of this stuff just needs to be done to try to create some noise. Not necessarily, I think it's going to be the coolest vehicle in the world.
Can you imagine, though, it comes out and everybody wants one? Like, that would be the best thing. Because Lincoln's never been, like, we've never talked to them being in trouble where, like, hey, they might just go under. It's never been the case, even for as long as I've been around. We've talked about, you know, our friends' moms have one, or how nice they are, how nice they drive, the quality you get for the price. But it's always just kind of at this quiet hum where it's like, it's not great, it's not bad, it's just doing its thing.
Point. Yeah, and I think they need to get out of that. I think they're really worried about, you got a lot of stuff happening right now in the car market. And we haven't talked, I mean, CarMax is in real, like, could be a free fall situation, and then they hire a CEO that used to run Holiday Inn Expresses, you know, as their new CEO. I mean, they are in real. There's real concern in the car market, and it's bubbling, right? And it's really based around credit. You know, there's this whole credit. So companies like Lincoln, you have to assume there's some people behind the scenes that are going, there is a lot of weakness in the car market. We need to make sure that we create some buzz. You know, doesn't matter when this thing comes out. This is just all about being in the headlines that maybe pushes somebody to stop at a Lincoln dealership. If it comes across their feed, they're like, I haven't thought about Lincoln, and I'm going to go stop. I think that's the part we never talk about enough is just doing something cool to maybe that one guy, that one gal in Austin stops by the Lincoln dealership because it came across their social media.
Yeah, and there's no indication that there's going to be a V8 in this thing, okay? But we got to talk about it because this is clutch culture. We're big boys. We drive V8s around every day.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. You look, you're a change man.
I'm new to the club. I'm new to the club. I admit it, but you know.
For all new listeners, I don't own a single vehicle that isn't a V8.
Yeah.
Rob just got his first one.
In a while, I will say, you know, I had a truck back in the day.
That doesn't count. By the way, if it's over a decade ago, it doesn't count.
All right, it was 9 years ago, so it's still
so it's just under. It's just under the
threshold. I was a man for a short period of time, and then I wasn't, and now I'm a man again. So
you came in at 156 on the dot instead of 155.
Exactly.
So
I have the pound allowance. All right, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to give up my purse for that. But there's no indication it'll be a V8, so it's not going to be like a Raptor R setup, but maybe it will. So, we're looking at Raptor body on frame kind of setup with the EcoBoost, twin turbo V6 probably. But can you imagine? Because it also, a lot of these articles have stated how it's going to be like a Mercedes competitor, and we're seeing some of these Euro brands like, all right, we're going to creep back into the V8s possibly. We're going to introduce some of the luxury with V8, which that just makes my heart so happy. Imagine Lincoln doing the same thing.
We also have to say something for all of you that love Bronco, and I know everybody from every economic class is, who we deal with. The people that Lincoln want to come and buy this are not highly impressed with the Bronco experience.
It's true.
Right? I mean, we were getting them when nobody could get them for some of our clients. We were getting them out of Florida. We were getting them all over and it was coming here and we were retrofitting. I know you deal with some businesses that were getting Broncos when nobody was getting them. Mm-hmm. I've shared this story. I mean, I knew the people that were going to hate them when they bought them. And I would tell them, this is going to the beach house. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to like driving this around Vegas. Like,
I remember this was years ago. I remember
yeah, like you're going to, this is a good PCH car for you. But it was true. And I was basically 100% right because a lot of my clients I've been with for a very long time. And you could possibly get them interested in this. Because if they feel now, the question is, how do you pull off an upgraded? If you're saying this is going after G-Wagon, but you got to split the difference between Bronco and G-Wagon, boy, you got to get a lot of things right to split that difference.
And for new listeners also, you got to remember, if you haven't heard, Nick loves the Navigator.
Oh, I love it. Buddy, I drove the new one. It was just delivered, we've only 7-8 days ago.
So one of the early viral videos as well was, what was it, Escalade versus Navigator?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The new Navigator's fantastic.
And what is the particular trim? Is it the Black Label?
Black Label, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And that's
it's all
that was
class,
up there.
Rob.
It is all class. It absolutely is all class, but it's also all class that pisses people off because that was up there with the Defender and all those kind of videos.
Sure.
But again, it does slide under the radar. I guess obviously you have to be a certain clientele who's going to go and even look at the Black Label. But when you do, you sit in it, you drive it, or just ride in it, you're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, and it has its flaws, but you can say the same thing about Escalade. There's always things that all of us overlook. I think they've done a good job with Navigator. I don't think they've gotten the sales they think they deserve for what they've built. And so I think you're going to see, hopefully, Lincoln start to make some reactions to that. Where do we need to innovate? Where do we need to do? I don't know why anybody would root against a company like the Lincoln Town Car. I mean, it was an all-timer. I mean, it was an all-timer. I mean, I don't care what you say. It's an all-timer. Rob, it might not be your thing.
It's not my thing, but...
I mean, did you ever watch that show Justified?
I didn't.
I mean, he was a gunslinging sheriff. He had a Lincoln Town Car because he was a man of class.
I just got cut off by a Lincoln Town Car last night. I will say over the last 20, 30 years, the drivers of most Lincoln Town Cars have completely dramatically changed, if everybody knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. You can't hold that against Lincoln.
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
We're holding it against Nissan.
But they were crazy from the day they bought them.
Dude, the funniest meme I saw this week was it was a video of them rolling out the Nissan off the factory for the first time. I saw that meme. And the caption was like, "Little do they know what they were unleashing onto the world."
I know, it's a true story. That was a funny meme. But I like I said, go back to the Lincoln LS. I was working for a wholesaler and working early in my career. I just always thought that was a cool car. I just always thought like this is a good sedan for a certain price, and I didn't know, I was so young, I didn't know what anything cost or meant or any of that kind of stuff. But I always liked Lincoln. I believed they just needed to take some more chances. If this is a step for them to take some more chances, I think that's a good thing.
That whole era and genre of cars, like the Buick, Oldsmobile, or even like the Cadillacs of the day, like those big floaty kind of cruisers, they were always comfortable. They lasted forever, and they were always cheap. No matter what your budget was, you could find one of those.
Yeah, I mean, a Buick LeSabre or a Park Avenue.
There you go.
I mean, come on.
You're on top of the world.
You needed a little hoopty to get around, put some mileage on. I mean, this is where we go back and say, everybody goes, well, things were cheaper back in the day. I know a lot of people that are young guys that watch us. You wouldn't have bought a Buick LeSabre, but there were people that were your age buying a Buick LeSabre because they could find it for $2,500, and it was just it was way more part of the culture than it is now. But those turned into some real hoopties that people got around in for sure.
For a long time, and I remember being super young, probably late teens, I want to say, maybe early 20s, and having one of those buddies who was like the friend of a friend, a little bit older, but still in his 20s as well, buying one of those. And it was the first time I heard Opie and Anthony. I was in this big cruiser. We were going to Guitar Center, and I'm like, yo, what's this? And this was like shortly after finding podcasts, and it's just like, that memory is ingrained in me, but also like that car. So I don't know, maybe that's why it's kind of like, it just hits a certain spot.
Yeah, hey. If you got town cars for sale, hit up Rob.
Please
Rob
do. I might. Yeah, please. It's Clutch Culture Podcast.
Well, but here's the thing. Another V8 might bankrupt your fuel. So Rob's looking for a 4-cylinder more likely right now.
Yeah, I think I might have to dust off the GTI, by the way. It's super dusty right now.
I know you do. I can imagine about a month in when you start tallying this up, you're like, I'm going to drive the Raptor a little bit more sparingly.
I am going to, but you know what? I did the math here. Let me just break this down for everybody. If you do the math and you know your miles or whatever, when you go from even like a GTI 4-cylinder turbo to a Raptor, if you really crunch the numbers, you might be looking at, within reason, $100 to $200 more a month. Now, I don't want to sneeze at that, but for the joy that you're going to get for the extra $100 to $200, honestly, it's so worth it.
I don't have a single vehicle that's not approaching $100 to fill up, so I don't really know. I mean,
look at the stone cold dead look on his face.
It's like $4.50 a gallon out here or something, maybe right now.
That's another brutal thing too. Depending on where you live, you might want to just stomp on me for saying that.
So having a lot of V8 trucks and a lot of V8 SUVs and a V8 sports car, I'm not really getting a lot of relief here, Rob. So I've had to just live with this. It's a gift and a curse.
It is a gift and a curse, but let's also talk about the way that Nick drives. It doesn't matter what you're riding in; you're going to be pedal down.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I can't have some fun, Rob. I can't have some Rob.
Absolutely,
can't
please.
have some fun.
Gentlemen in Vegas should be having fun, which I'm sure they do. Let's all be serious.
Dude, last Sunday I had to go through for all of you people that have owned an M car, the whole battery removal experience in the back where
I saw you posted a picture in the stories, I think, right?
Yep.
If you know, you know.
I'm like, here we are. What
got you to finally do it? What got you? Because I know it's been sitting there for a little bit.
I really wanted to drive it. There's something about the weather breaking.
Oh, yes.
That really, fits my enjoyment of that car. The funniest thing is it's like the most safe when it's cold outside because, it controls the heat a little bit better on your engine. Nah, man, I wait till it's like 115 out here and I'm like, let's just rev this.
Let it rip.
Yeah, there's just something about it. But that car is, I'll say it, like if you find a car somewhere between 400 and 525 horsepower and it's a manual, I just don't see why you can't have the time of your life. Like, I know we don't want to go down to horsepower talk, but it's like, it really is like insanely fast if you know what the hell you're doing. Like, it's an incredible, it just fits that sweet spot for me.
And the NA platforms, no matter if it's a truck or a car, I hadn't driven anything that was NA in, I don't know, almost 15 years. It's just so fun and rewarding to just step on the gas and you just go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No
that's why I like it when it gets nice. I can roll the windows down. I can hear it. I can go to the high RPMs. I can hear it. It's something about it. So that's what kind of made me do it. But it's just a royal pain in the ass to have to deal with. Like, that's why it was sitting there for a couple weeks with the dead battery. I was just like, and I made the mistake. I just forgot to put it on the trickle charger.
Yeah.
Like, that's
a lot of things going on.
That's on me,
gentleman.
Dude. What a dumbass.
You were a busy gentleman.
Yeah. What a dumbass.
What a dumbass. Well, speaking of, by the way, I came up with that title for the Luxury Raptor. Can you imagine if they do call it that? Like, it'd be hilarious. But
there you go. I like it.
I would like it. I'd be like, hey, you definitely listen to Clutch Culture. Speaking of Raptors and dirty cars and cars that have been sitting, like the GTI and the BMW, the M3, I had the first detail done on the Raptor. I had it filmed, so I'm banking a couple of videos to start, putting together a good little catalog to roll out on the Clutch Culture Podcast channel. But I got to ask you, dude, if the car, because you live in Vegas. I know Marty's in Tulsa. There's got to be dust there as well. There's tons of dust here in Central Texas because so many things are getting built, and it's just part of the area. How do I keep the thing clean after 24 hours? Can I use any of the hyperclean chemicals? Do you suggest air? Like, what's the best?
Yeah, so, air to blow off your car, especially if you have a ceramic coating on it,
Not yet, but I will.
It,
Not yet,
yeah,
but I will.
it absolutely works. I mean, that works, gangbusters for the kind of dust. But, kind of the way I tell people is, I have a black car, I have a dark blue car. Sometimes, you want to use the right detail spray like Slick in our store, but the dust settling on it, you're going to have to live with it. It's not the greatest. You can always use a waterless or rinseless wash if you want to just clean it up real quick. But, my BMW was incredibly dusty, obviously, after sitting for a little while. I brought it to the shop and I gave it a bath. Put the headphones in, enjoyed myself, and, by the time I drove home, was there some dust on the car? Sure. There was some dust on the car.
10 minutes later, son of a bitch.
It's just the way it is. So I don't let that stuff bother me. But if it does bother you, rinseless and waterless wash is a great option in your garage.
All right, I got to buy more towels for that case. The GTI only took like 4. This is going to take like 10.
Yeah, this. Look, you're stepping into a whole nother league here.
Yeah, but I'm leaning on you to help me, guide through
you haven't had to get a stepper to get to the roof of something in how long?
Shout out to one of our listeners. I forgot who sent it to me. He's like, hey, Harbor Freight's got like a 40-inch, work ladder. Go get it right now because you're going to need it for the top of the truck. I'm like, you're right.
And let me say this there. Do not use a brush on your trucks. Okay? Don't use a brush.
You expand on that because people are going to be like, what are you talking about? That's what you get at every car wash, and that's the easiest thing to use.
And that's why your car doesn't look good, and your truck especially doesn't look good. Just don't use a brush. We have all kinds of videos on HyperClean Store YouTube. We show you the proper way to wash. It doesn't take that much longer. There's a reason my cars look the way they do, and it's not because I'm a rocket scientist. It's just using the right things, doing it the right way. All of you can do it. We're good to go.
So before we get into more stories, this will drop on Monday, as every podcast has for over a year now. And on Tuesday, you're dropping a new product altogether. So
Yes.
what are we sharing with the world on Tuesday?
It's called AWX, and it's going to be an acid wheel cleaner, more leaning towards people with some experience. Acid is how we used to clean every wheel, but we've manufactured something that's pretty unique. Go watch, look at the video on hypercleanstore.com. You can actually no-touch clean your wheels if you do things properly.
Yeah.
It's exciting for us as a manufacturer because very, very limited amounts of manufacturing facilities handle these materials. So we are going to be one of the few in the United States that handles these materials, which is really exciting as a business because we're sort of running into things that everybody else has been running out of.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of liability concerns and different things like that. So we've spent the better part of the last year, Marshall and the team at HQ have solidified us working with acidic acid on this level is just not something a lot of people do, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Hypercleanstore.com is where the products are, and the YouTube video will be on Hyperclean Store YouTube channel. All right, speaking of BMWs, dude, as of this morning, I started seeing these articles roll out about how BMW, this is exactly one of them. BMW mistakenly publishes the name of all 2027 cars. And another one was BMW accidentally announces every 2027 car, including the all-wheel drive M2. Do you think that are these real leaks? Are these, because I'm starting to think that the way that the world has kind of delivered to us a bunch of crazy chaos already in 2026, these mistakes are so incompetent that it might actually, because this is like movie level incompetence, but it might just be real mistakes.
Can we all say that we don't care? I mean, is that an okay opinion to have? Is it okay to just go, you could have released this at the beginning of the year, you could have released it last year, here's the 2027 models. They think they're giving some kind of buildup. People that are looking for a BMW are going to go to the BMW dealership and buy whatever they want to buy. They may look at 2 or 3 vehicles and make a decision, but the names of German cars are not wildly impressive to begin with. What does it really matter? Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, considering, you're talking about like the M350, you got the iX350 XDR, right? The iX440.
The Germans, once again, showing you, they are just so creative with numbers and letters to make stupid names.
They did, although, you're right, and they did blur out the new 7 Series. because.
So they gave you the name, but they blurred out the car with the camo?
Sounds like a real big leak.
Yeah, no, I work a lot of M7s, and I think the last M7 model that came out probably surpassed the S-Class. I said that on a podcast. They did such a good job with it. but boy, does that car feel big. I mean, it feels big when that hood feels in. I mean, you're just like, this feels like a lot of hood space. It doesn't matter sometimes what the dimensions say. That sitting behind the wheel makes you go, oh, the front of that looks, God, what was the front of that?
That one's going to be one of the iX cars. Might even be the 350 or the M2
This
X-Drive.
is
I don't know.
an iX Lancer.
Yeah. It's what was the other Mitsubishi that somebody kept commenting?
The Galant?
Like it was a Galant for sure, and then there was another one too. I'm forgetting it. It started with an M, I think. But yeah, this looks early Mitsubishi.
I don't know, man. It doesn't matter. I know we're all looking for content. You know, let's understand that that's the game. But them releasing the names, who cares?
I mean, I agree. So, do you have any opinions on the M2 and the all-wheel drive and the introduction of that
I kind
platform?
of like what they've done with the M2. I have not been behind the wheel of the brand new M2. I still think, and I got to pull the data on this, so this is my mistake, guys, is that I still think most M2s that people want are manual. I think it's like an overwhelming amount of purchases in the manual of M2. I don't love any of it, but I mean, the M2 is not really hateable in my opinion. I mean, they've done an okay job with it. And it just doesn't speak to me as like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to spend, what is it now, $125,000 to $140,000 on an M car. I just don't think it's really, and I think that's the price range I'm kind of doing off the top of my head.
You know, we never talked about or we haven't really talked about the 1M. Remember the little one?
Oh, I love the 1M. I mean, look, the 1M is very desirable now.
I saw one yesterday for the first time in a long time on the road, and it just every time I see one, which is again very rare, I'm like, damn, is that one of those cars that's going to go up significantly in value to where you should pick one up?
Yeah, significantly. I mean, they've already gone up, and you know, ultra low mileage ones are kind of going. I think I saw a low mileage, maybe E46. Somebody sent me. I think it ended up going for 67. So
Damn.
1M has definitely had their run up as well. I think it's one of those cars when you say go up significantly. I mean, significant would mean we're going to see 1M at 300,000.
Oh, right.
I don't
Probably
know
not.
if we're going to get there. I guess we could. I think there's a lot of. I talked to a few people this week that you know had some interesting opinions. I think we're going to see things soften pretty significantly over the next 24 to 36 months. That's a guess. Obviously, I'm giving you like an educated opinion. I don't know where that leaves a car like 1M because it is a special car because obviously it's you know one of those rare moments where they made you know a couple year run I believe of it, and I've always liked it, you know, but you got to have a specific buyer and you got to have somebody specifically into, you know, if you have an M collection, you want a 1M, right? And
Right.
so you're looking for those kind of people to really drive the price on them.
The first link that popped up just happened to be an Edmunds link, so I just clicked on it, and I mean, 60 to 90 is what you're looking
Yeah.
for 2010,
I mean, I could see if they keep getting run up and asset prices stay high. I mean, those could be in the 120s. You know, they could be. But any weakness in the market, I think those are going to stall out and create a floor in some kind of way. But look, man, they're cool cars. They weren't amongst my friends. Everybody always wanted an M3 was sort of the thing everybody grew up on, right?
Your specific one, if I had to say.
Yeah, I mean E92, E90, those kind of things. I think when you look at it, 1M kind of flew under the radar at the time. It's
Yeah.
not under the radar now, obviously.
No. I remember there was a Dynan one that was passed around
Yeah.
the early media press. Those,
Yeah, man, it was a really, really cool car.
everybody take a drink for 2010. That was a great year for a lot
so
of
we'll say this though, 1M, like so many other cars, prove that a lot of cars in the moment that people aren't like super excited about almost always become something people get excited about in the sports car market, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen that with weird spec, you know, GT3s. It's like they couldn't move them off the lot, and now people are paying a premium because it's a one of one type of spec. But it was such an ugly spec. We talked about this a few weeks back. Yeah, man, 1M was one of those things. People liked them, the enthusiasm has definitely grown. It's like a TV movie, like a movie that comes on TV and gets like a second wind years later.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what we've seen from 1M. But I was there, you were there. BMW guys always wanted an M3, and I just think 1M just kind of, people liked it, but they were like, I'm going to get the M3, and now you're seeing people really want the 1M.
So I'm jumping around my run through here because this is a perfect time to bring up. You and I were talking about earlier this week, just a quick convo on like car enthusiast. What was it? What was it? It was like It wasn't personality. It was maturity almost. I think it was we were talking about. But I remember seeing. You have a 2003. I've got a 14. We always talk about old cars, and then as we kind of grew in the podcast, we kept saying, man, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about older cars. And now some of these funny car creators that I'll see are like, you know what? When I really hit it, people are going to know because I'm going to be back there on Marketplace finding the best examples of like your late 90s, mid 90s, early 2000s
And I would say
cars.
that's most of my group chats. Just so
Yeah,
knows.
no, for sure.
That's most of my group chats over the last 5 years have been people sending listings of things that just 5 years ago, many of us didn't think about.
That is so accurate. The 5-year window, I was going to say the exact same thing. It couldn't have been, definitely not a decade. It's less than a decade where that's like, and it's not that we don't like new cars. Love new cars. I think it's great. It's cool. It's innovative. Maybe sometimes it's luxurious, whatever it is. But they're not hitting with the audiences that the cars that we're talking about now hit.
No, not in the enthusiast realm. The enthusiasts have really, I think, started to wake up that their favorite things are never, the lineage of their favorite things is dead. Right?
It peaked already, yeah, long time.
But it's also the lineage has been broken in a lot. I mean, we talk about Land Cruiser a lot on this podcast. The lineage in America of Land Cruiser, unless they make some drastic change, it's now forever not the lineage that you remember.
Right.
Doesn't mean good or bad. I'm not making a comment on that. But, the same can be said about a lot of things. I mean, that's what I think is actually hurting Mustang, right? Mustang's lineage is just going on too long, and they're not making enough change to kind of excite people to go, okay, that's what C8 Corvette did. C8 basically said, hey, we're going in a new direction, and they happened to do something people loved.
I have a really great tentative segment for the show that includes Porsche and Mustang, so it's funny you brought that up. But to stay on this topic, do you think that we're going to see more car enthusiast maturity rapidly get to kind of where your group texts are and what the conversations we're having and what our audience likes just because of prices and
I think it's there. I think it's there for most people 30 and above. Mm-hmm. I think their mindset's already, I got to go find that thing I want.
Okay, so for the 30 and above mindsets that we're talking about, this is actually leads into my next topic. Are they crying about tracks and track days and track weekends and
boy? This track conversation is obviously hyper-specific. If you're into track, you've been crying about the track situation in most places for well over a decade, 15 years. I don't think it's ever been what everybody was happy about. The track's not maintained or the track, hasn't upgraded itself. And, we have some interesting news now of all of this. We need to save the track from certain media members. We need to save tracks for the average guy. Boy, that's playing out much differently in real time, huh?
Yeah, and the famous word I left out of my little rant there is private equity. And the outcries of private equity in these markets are also kind of changing tunes, or even subtly just not being discussed as loudly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the irony of all of this is there were a lot of content creators, podcasters, media members, whoever you want to lump into the talking heads out there, were telling you we all need to have an outcry to save tracks. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a couple-year push.
Yeah.
And then these people get tracks saved, but they get tracks saved with lots of money from an equity partner or an equity buyout. And everybody goes, this is going to be great. Then all the building happens, all the refurbishment happens, all the new structures go up, and all of a sudden, those same media members are taking pictures and videos at a private track day going, hey, look at how great this is. Look at what they've done at the track, which, by the way, most of this stuff's going to go private or semi-private.
It has to.
Okay? Because these guys that have that level of money to save these properties, they're in it for one reason. They're not in it for the love of the track. It doesn't matter what you hear on an interview or you hear publicly. It's not for the love of the track because most of these guys don't even live there.
Yeah.
So they're going to fly in what? Let's just say they have lots of money. They fly in once a quarter because they're a busy guy. They're saving a track in California when they live in New York City for what? So I think you can cut the irony with a knife at this point. It's so thick that all of these people that were crying to have, hey, you guys should support the saving of these tracks as individuals, and we're going to lead the charge, and we're going to act like we're for the little guy. You have some tracks now that the little guy can't get in since all of this has taken place.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about that here in Texas too with Coda. We were talking about that, and I think it's bound, like you said, to happen to all of them. They're all going to go private or semi-private, and eventually the conversation will just die because there aren't going to be any more ears to listen. Like if you're into it, you've literally got money, so you're into it, you got some skin in the game, or you're just kind of like, well, I guess I got to move on to something else.
Well, and I find it funny when the irony of the media members is you don't know if they've been given free memberships and this was all a plan. It doesn't sit right. We've seen some comment sections on some of these videos be very, very angry because they have done the pricing. Where a track day used to be a couple $100, it's already jumped up to $800. That's when the track is available.
Yep.
And not rented out to members in some way. So it's kind of like what we told you guys about certain individuals getting very hyped up about what was going on at car shows and car meets, and I don't understand all this behavior and we need to calm it down. Yet the whole run-up of them on the internet was them doing film or photo or producing or being drivers in these crazy videos on the internet doing crazy stuff with cars. This is not to point blame, but you got to look at the irony of all of this. Save the tracks, and then I'm going to show you my track day at this very expensive place that used to be not very expensive. So what did they know? When did they know it? You guys can make that call for yourself, but you got to admit the irony is very thick in here.
Let us know in the comments when you see this.
And by the way,
right now.
they were for the little guy as they're at a private track day. You
that's always about being for the little guy. And then all of a sudden, you're not for them, and you're not the little guy anymore, and you've disappeared.
And then you want to have arguments and go, well, what you don't understand, it's like, no, man, I priced it out. It's 4X the cost, or I got to buy a membership. I think you have some interesting information about Coda, where it seems like there's a corporate sponsorship, basically
a medical group.
A medical group is basically going to take most of the days, if not all of them. In some way. I mean, we don't have that information for sure. Like, we are in real time where everybody that was calling for these tracks to be saved on behalf of the little guy now all of a sudden doesn't have a problem with all these massive equity people. And I'm all for it. I want to make this clear. If somebody pays the money and they bought the property, they can do what they want with it.
Of course.
Make it as private as you want. Tell me Nick and Rob can't join. Doesn't offend me. Okay, it's your money, your property. You can do what you want. I've never cared about that. I also wasn't the guy crying to bring in people to save these tracks because I kind of knew what was going to happen. And I think so did everyone else.
The only track I need now is one of my buddy's ranches, and I'm good. All right, you can keep the track.
I mean,
I'll make my own trail.
I don't think any of us want to see this, but I think we're all being delusional that supposed smart media members did not know that this is the way it was going to go down.
Well, we'll see how it all unfolds. I want to take a left turn here because we had a video that went pretty crazy here the last couple of days about Scout, and I think you might have been more in the exchanges than I was, but there was somebody that made a comment to the extent of like, was it that Vag would be going out of business or something? Before Eneos.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
Volkswagen Auto Group was going to go out of business before Eneos. I mean, we
and you like Eneos.
I love Ineos.
Yeah.
Rooting them on. They've cut production, several times already by all accounts. If they weren't attached to a major, larger corporation, they'd probably, be damn near producing nothing. I think people get very, hyper specific. If they happen to see a lot of the cars in the area, they think that means something's doing well. Ineos is not doing well in the United States. They could be doing well, but they're not doing well enough to not cut production.
I'm gonna real quick. I'm gonna pull it up. How many Eneos do you think sold in the U.S. last year in 2025?
I would say 30,000.
All right, let's see. In 2025, Eneos Grenadier sales face changes, blah, blah, blah. Not expected to exceed 7,000 for the
Yeah,
year.
I mean, I'm way. I mean, so
Jeez, I was not thinking that low.
no, me either. But it's a hyper specific vehicle, right? I mean, it's really like once those ultra rich guys scratch that itch, that's who was buying them. That's who they were
Yeah.
targeting, by the way. It's not
Right.
really a secret. They were targeting a very specific private equity up in Aspen house.
There's a reason I never saw those ads. Let's all be real here.
It's pretty obvious who they were targeting, and that's their prerogative. But it shows you the disconnect between what the consumer thinks they know and what is actually real. To say that Ineos has any prayer of outlasting the Volkswagen Auto Group, who owns how many brands at this point? And I even said, and I want to say to all of you, that doesn't mean I agree with the Volkswagen Auto Group and everything they're doing across every brand. I just know how goddamn big they are. And I understand that they have a global footprint that Ineos will not have if they stay in business 100 years.
Yeah, no, it's not even close. It's literally, they're the largest, right? European automaker?
Yeah, I mean, because of what they own, right?
Yeah, they own everything, essentially.
I mean, they're a top 5 automaker globally. Once you start saying you're a top 5 automaker globally, Ineos is not on that level. And again, your opinion doesn't make it fact. Right?
You're right.
The Volkswagen Auto Group is a major player. And by the way, they could sell like 4 brands off and cash flow the rest of their business.
Yeah.
So it's just not reality. And it causes people this kind of, cluelessness.
Delusion.
Yeah, delusion causes people to make bad decisions.
Yes, but hey, delusional commenters, hearts to you for leaving engagement
Absolutely.
in our comments. I love you, honestly. I'm not going to lie to you. But speaking of Volkswagen Audi, I got a question for you. All right, so I got back in the GTI after a couple of weeks of not driving it at all, and I found a new feature I never knew the car had. Have you ever had a car that you later found a feature way after you've owned a car?
Oh, yeah.
Please, what's the first one that comes to mind? Because you're not going to believe. My wife told me, she's like, put this in your notes right now. We're at the store. She goes, put it in park, put this in your notes. You got to tell me what you just
I'd have to think about that.
Okay, think about it. So we're pulling into a store, and you know what it was? I think this is why I found it, because the Raptor has power folding mirrors, okay? And I hadn't had anything with power folding mirrors.
Yeah, I think you know what? I actually think that's probably like a feature.
Dude, no way. So check out how dumb this sounds. We're backing up. And it had the same icon that the Raptor has on it, but the Raptor, you have to push it down and it folds the mirror in. What this was, it was the same icon, but what it does is when you put it in reverse, it tilts your passenger side mirror so you can see the back tire.
Yeah.
I've had the car for 3-4 years. I didn't know it did that.
Hey, you just think to yourself, like, what was I doing the whole time?
I was using my, I'm backing up a trailer. I know where the tire is. I don't need to see it, but I really wish I would have been able to see the tire the whole time.
No, I would really have to think about one of those moments that I've had. I couldn't do it off the top of my head because it's too random, but I'll try to think of one.
Please think of one. She was like, I cannot believe what you just discovered randomly.
Yeah, and that's also the good thing about getting in other cars, because when you get back in yours, you start to see things that look similar, and you're like, I never pressed this before.
Yeah. Also underrated to me is built-in garage door openers, like the HomeLink system Fords have.
No question.
It's so great.
No question. Yeah.
For the last 2 weeks, I was just back and forth, with the freaking garage door opener. I'm like, I just had to set it up.
It doesn't have. Oh, you did. Oh, I was like, it had to have it. Like
No,
what?
I didn't set it it up yet. But shout out to YouTube.
And I've had some cars where the setup was such a headache. You had to get the owner's manual out and follow these procedures. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on with your link system?
That's how I felt until I found one video, which in the comments, you're like, you're the only video that described this well. And it's crazy. You'll see dozens and dozens of videos. And I'm like, how are they all wrong? And there's only one that did it right.
Yeah. It's when you find those videos, you're so excited.
I save them.
Yeah. And you realize if you send that to somebody, they won't be as excited as you are.
I know.
So you're just alone excited. Like, oh, hell yeah. Look what I found.
That's most of my life, Nick.
Yeah.
By the way, alone and excited.
Same.
Nobody cares about the same stuff. All right, so you got to think about that, because I want to hear something that was just shocked you that you didn't know your car had. But also, speaking of earlier, you talked about Porsche, we talked about Ford. I don't know, man. I'm calling this input from the internet, because I feel like our comments, whether it's comments, emails, DMs, there's a lot of input, good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. But somebody said, all right, let me see if I can find the exact comment here. The next affordable Porsche is a Ford Mustang dark horse. I truly believe that people are going to move to Ford. Amazing driving experience, NA manual. Ford will be the new Porsche.
No. I really appreciate the thought of the comment, and I think I said that, responding to him and going, you could be onto something. The problem that you face is that people that are looking for the level of experience of a Porsche are probably 99% never going to buy a Ford.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the reality that we see. Should they? Could you be right technically? All of that stuff is kind of irrelevant because you're looking at a certain type of buyer. Now, where you could be right, and where this stuff really is an interesting conversation, is that are people going to be so fed up with pricing that they're just going to be looking for a cheaper option? This has kind of been the argument of how expensive some of these Mustangs have become. You go, well, at that point, I might as well buy a used 911. So how does that equate, right? So now I got to wait for the dark horse to depreciate by whatever it's going to depreciate by. And if it's not enough to be significantly under a used Porsche, and by significant, I mean $30,000 plus dollars, and I don't think there's any hopes of that happening tomorrow, you're looking at a long runway for this to take place, in my opinion.
Is there any, have you kept up with that world just because we take some jabs, make some jokes or whatever, but prices of certain things came in GT4 or something where it's actually kind of gone down? Because I feel like a lot of that, you've talked about softening of the market. I feel like a lot of those cars have kind of softened.
Yeah, used 911s have softened. They're not anywhere where most people would be happy, but it's softened. GT3 isn't softening, right? That special ones are not softening. But yeah, you can find good Porsche products to have fun with in the sports car realm, for things that don't look as inflated as they maybe looked, 36 months ago, but they're still inflated. And so people have a lot of apprehension. I get texts all the time of somebody finding a used Porsche, a lot of used Ferraris in my chats. And, what's about to happen with Ferrari, F430 and 458 that are seemingly not even the special ones are starting to gain steam. So you're going to see a lot of movement, I think. You're going to see a lot of people. And so I appreciate the commenter talking about this, because at some point people are going to have to make a move. They're going to want some type of experience. I just think it's hard to say somebody who is on the level of buying a Porsche is really going to be looking and seeing things through the lens of, let me look at all brands. That's just not normally how it goes. And if they were, they'd be looking for a used M car or something like that, in my opinion.
So I want your thoughts. So the place where I bought the Raptor, no free shout-outs unless we collaborate, so maybe I'll mention them, shout them out later. But they have a 17 Macan Turbo in the sapphire blue metallic that I absolutely love. What are your thoughts on the Macan?
The only thing I had a problem with Macan on, and we were thinking about it for our family, is it is exceedingly small.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's small. So I've always liked, obviously the numbers show what they've done with Macan. It's incredibly successful. I think it's a hell of a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what your needs are, and most people are going to fit into the Cayenne. Now you're talking about really a different class of money for the ones you want. But I don't think you can really say anything negative about what Porsche has done in their SUV market. I'm a Panamera fan, so.
Oh, yeah. Listener Nicole knows all about that. You convinced her to buy the Panamera. She bought, so, shout out to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Panamera's, people just don't love the look of it, but it's a hell of an experience.
Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, I was just enamored by this blue. I mean, Porsche has some beautiful blues. I love Mexico blue. I love, what's the other one? Mexico blue. There's another one of those bright kind of really off bluey ones that Porsche makes.
Yeah, look, man, what they've done with their SUVs over the years is incredible. But you're still seeing news out of Porsche Corporation, so to speak, that they're not doing so hot. They're in some financial strain, and it's amazing to all of us listening that could happen. But you got to sell a lot of cars, man. And they've gotten to price. I mean, I've told everybody, I think I had a Cayenne Turbo in the shop somewhere around 6, 8, 12 months ago, I think the sticker, I mean, that stuff, that was like 180, 187, something in that realm. And you go, damn, how many people can you sell this to? And you need to sell a lot of them.
Yeah. So I saw there's a channel, I don't remember the page, but they make parts or they remanufacture parts, specifically a lot for Porsche. And he was talking about how some of the accessory parts or just exterior parts can be so outrageously priced. Like there was a plastic piece. He said that Porsche, for example, it's just like a small plastic piece that goes a part of the bumper that was sold for like $7,500.
Yeah,
And part of the wing that would sell, you know what I mean? And so they reproduce them and sell them for maybe a couple $100s, if that. And that makes me think like at a certain point, after all of the upper echelon people have kind of gone through those cars, the next buyer, if they need to replace those parts, they're not spending $10,000 on a plastic piece for your bumper, right?
Yeah, so now you just have something that becomes like a cancer that spreads to the car.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Where this piece is missing, then this next piece starts to be missing. And, it is a very, very enticing thing to buy a highly depreciated Porsche.
Yeah.
There's some realities that largely get put under the rug by Porsche fans. That's like, well, this car doesn't cost that much, and it doesn't run. It's got a great engine platform, and it'll be kind of reliable for this level of car. You start looking into those things, yeah, man. I mean, it's what kind of kept me off of Panamera. Panamera, when things go wrong, you're stepping into a level of maintenance that most people don't understand. Like you said, just a simple plastic piece or this or that. It doesn't have to scare everybody off, but I'm like, I think there's just better options for me. But I still love it.
No, I agree with you. Speaking of blues and cool colors, last spring actually we talked about the Toyota Wavemaker color.
Yeah,
and it coming out right on all the TRD models. And I don't know when they started kind of shipping, but I saw one. I'm going to pull it up just to refresh your memory and everybody watching on YouTube. And I saw one on a trailer. I saw two of them that were on a trailer, and it looked really, really good. I don't know if this picture does it justice, but do I remember you liking this color or
yes.
not liking this color?
I saw it in person at SEMA 2 years ago.
Okay.
They had it on a non-production, topless Bronco rival that I remember bringing up at the time because SEMA was about a month before we started this podcast. And I go, if they brought this to market, it'd be game over. And it's nowhere near it.
It looks so good.
But it looks awesome. Yeah, it's a great color.
It looks great in person. Wavemaker Blue, or Wavemaker is what it's called. But yeah. Check that out if you're in the market for a Toyota. I was surprised by it because when I saw it in the picture, I'm like, that might be a little too off colory, but in person, it looks sweet. All right. Have you seen the videos of Ram trucks airbags going off when they shouldn't?
Somebody sent me something. So this is now like a widespread thing.
Yes. Watch this. I gotta play it for you. You're gonna be on the same channel, so I'm gonna try not to blow your eardrums, but you will not believe this guy's. I mean,
is this the guy that's all bloody?
Yeah. Give me a second here to turn you down.
The RHO went off again, and this time I was on a smooth part of the off-road course. This is where I test the Ford Raptor, the Ford Raptor R, the Bronco Raptor. Those are all OEM vehicles. I don't do anything to them when I test them. And the first time the airbags went off, I let my insurance company handle the lawsuit against Dodge. Now I'm going to actually get an attorney because this is completely unacceptable. I went to an attorney and he recommended that I use my insurance policy again and let them sue Ram on my behalf. This is known as subrogation. But where this gets really interesting is I went to the Ram dealership to drop off the truck so that they could scan it and report it to the NHTSA. They came back to me and said that there was no crash data on the ORC. And right now there is a recall of over 52,000 trucks from Ram for faulty software on the ORC. Now, I took my insurance money and I went and field tested this. I was able to trigger the airbags through multiple instances that should not have triggered the airbags. After I completed testing, I went to trade the truck in, and there is no record of the deployments. The vehicle history report is clean, which means if you buy a Ram truck, you have no idea if it has this defective airbag system in it.
Bro.
But Tim Kaniska said they have no problems.
Insert right here when we edit the podcast reminder, the clips of him saying just that.
This is real dangerous shit, man.
That's a problem.
I mean, the guy was bleeding. If you've never seen or had airbags go off, it could be pretty violent. It looks like it was fairly violent for him. Actually
Yeah.
got kind of, a lot of people, will get like abrasions across multiple. It looks like he kind of escaped, really a lot of
Yeah.
it, but he still didn't escape at all. Manufacturing a truck or a car is not easy. I think we need to say that first. But for guys like Tim Kuniskis to go out and talk as if they didn't have production issues, yeah, we said you could build a Hemi. You guys know how to do that. The rest of it is very questionable. I mean, every electrical component, all of this software, you're not a company to be trusted because you didn't have it figured out electrically when these weren't so electrically driven systems. And this kind of proves the point. And that's why you and I have really put the opinion out there. These men and women from these car companies talking so much, it continues to be foot in mouth.
Yeah.
Foot in mouth, foot in mouth, foot in mouth. It's never positive. It's never like things play out the way they say they play out. And this guy's insurance, I mean, he's going to get a check. I mean, there's going to be a real check exchange hands here within the next couple of years for this guy and others that the crazy thing is he has it so well documented. You would almost hope they would say, what's your price, to get him to stop talking about it.
Yeah, well, let's help him out. Zent Rose, I believe it is. Zent Graffer. I'll put it, well, you'll see the video if you guys are watching. He is a telematics hardware engineer. So this guy's not going to go away, obviously. This is what he does. It's basically what his content is. Not just, obviously, with Dodge, but like he measures everything. He goes through the nitty-gritty of how shit should function. And this is not the way this shit should function. So this is a problem.
The question we get a lot of times, and there's no way for anybody to know the answer that's not inside these buildings, but I would assume they knew this.
And you said the foot and mouth thing before I could even say, like you've mentioned it. If they talked less, this wouldn't be almost as big of a problem. Obviously, it still is. But when you're out there saying the complete opposite over and over again on media,
yeah, it's like they almost think they're going to. It's like if they say Beetlejuice 3 times, he's going to show up. They just think if they say stuff, there's like they're going to put everybody's mind at ease. It's like, no, bud. Airbags are clocking people in the face. Like
we forgot the Streisand effect here. Like this, he just amplified all these problems even more by going on medias and saying that there's no problem.
Yes, and I want these people to continue to do media. You guys need to go to people that are going to ask you real questions and hold you accountable so you don't look more foolish. Now, they don't care. Look, everybody's making a ton of money at that level. Does he really care? The answer is probably no. I don't think he wants his airbags going off. Let me be clear.
No.
I don't think he wants to build bad electrical systems and bad software and a bad truck. I don't think that's what they're aiming for. But maybe a little less media and a little bit more on the factory floor figuring out what the hell's going on might be a good use of time here.
All right. I got to say, how about we do a little sports corner before we land the plane? How about that USA gold hockey medal?
Unbelievable.
What a game.
And then the fallout, and you just can't have anything nice. You can't have anything nice in the world.
Can't have nice things. No, not in today's world.
I mean, what a cool thing, man. You got to be happy for those guys. I can only imagine the partying that went on to celebrate. I would say you have to really be disciplined on social media to like enjoy these moments now.
Yes.
I think people at every turn, and whether somebody somewhere should have said something, I'm not debating that. Okay. Again, foot and mouth, you talk enough, which we have a politician that does too much talking, in my opinion. You're going to say some things you shouldn't say. And you're going to joke in ways you shouldn't joke. But the way this has turned, it's kind of sad. I mean, these dudes really did something special. The women, obviously winning gold is great.
Yeah.
But for the drought that they were on, to get over the hump, I think you got to be pumped up about that.
So I have a really good friend who he's Canadian, and he's a very well-known documentary filmmaker. And when the game ended, I just sent him a hockey stick, a U.S. flag, and an eagle. And he's a very nice guy, and he's very good about getting back to me. And he has read receipts on too. You read it, and he didn't reply back. And I'll tell my wife, I was like, damn, I think I finally pissed off Adam.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like an hour later that he's such a nice guy again. He was like, oh, good for the USA, whatever. Canada really dropped the ball. And I was like, okay, I didn't cross the line.
Yeah, no, man. It was cool to see. And the Olympics kind of just came and went.
I know.
When it's certain places in the world, it just doesn't hit the U.S. quite the same, right? You can't watch a lot of the stuff live, et cetera.
But again, shout out to the Boys USA team. Okay.
Do you see your boy Ellie De La Cruz? We're just going to gloss over it.
What I'm trying to keep up with spring training. What happened? Tell me.
Well, I'm a little worried he might get a little tag in his locker because he somehow gained like 25 pounds in a short off season. So,
Oh, jeez. No, I haven't.
I don't know, brother. There's a dude for the Rockies that put on 40 pounds like overnight.
Hey, we're back to the good days.
Yeah,
We're back.
that's what I'm
Are you
saying.
telling me we're back to the good days?
I mean, like I told you, if I ran baseball, it would be the WWE. No, nothing. No testing. No nothing.
Yeah. We need the guys from the enhanced games to just go to MLB and say, "Hey, look."
It's like the same thing you would say about MMA, except you're playing with people's lives, so you can't advocate for it. But like,
Sure.
Saucy Vitor Belfort was hella entertaining.
Yeah, in worst case, you might find a little too hard of comebackers, from the hitter to the pitcher.
You don't want Bob Sapp,
Sure,
punching
no.
people anymore, right? We realize what kind of damage that can do.
Who was it that broke the bat over their helmet where they just kind of like...
Oh, Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, yeah. That's
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Most guys.
I don't think he needed sauce. I think that
you're
dude
right.
was he just came out the womb ready to go.
He was that guy.
Yeah,
as
I
they
mean,
say.
I've seen Frank Thomas a lot in town. Like you stand
yeah?
next to that guy, you go, yeah, it makes sense. Like, I mean, it's just a large human being. You go, yeah, I know it is what it is.
Dude, the day that I had the Raptor detailed and then filmed was probably the last cold day we'll have in Texas, which it was like in the 30s or 40s, and then it got warm. So the weather's kind of broken here, which is great. It got me outside doing a bunch of things with the Raptor, other people filming content for the podcast, Hyperclean, the whole thing. But it's a good feeling. Spring training's back. All these teams are going, getting their teams all situated. And then the ABS system, the amount of calls that have gotten overturned in spring training already. I mean, I wish Angel Hernandez was still an umpire in the MLB. It's insane.
I'm going to have to play the wait and see game here.
Tell me what you mean by that. Don't tell me you're a purist that wants only ump calls to count.
I think I'm done with instant replay in all sports.
Ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No instant replay?
I mean, there's a lot of times they don't even get it right.
That's true.
It's just wasting my time.
That's true. That's true.
And I hope it works. I hope it's as quick as they say it's going to be. I just hope, because baseball has had a pretty good run here. I mean, it looks like they're going to go to a major lockout here at the end of the year. So we'll see how long this, good vibes last. But I think ultimately I just got to see it play out.
I'm actually glad you said that because there's this company that is going around and they're showcasing this technology where not only is it instant replay, dude, but it's like instant replay from all different parts of the stadium. They give you angles you've never seen before. Of course, it's all AI driven, and it's supposed to, again, show you different angles, but also give you better instant replay access. But sometimes when you see people that already get the calls bad, when you have a good view of it, it's like, what does it matter?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying. I got to see it. Like the NFL instant replay is abomination. NBA instant replay is abomination. Like, we need to stop all of this. I just want to watch the game and move on with my life. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like you don't know. You're just like, we're going to stop this for this again, and then there's a 50-50 chance they get it right. Like, that's kind of where we're at with instant replay.
Yeah, I would say postseason only, but we saw some really bad calls in NFL postseason this year.
Oh, 100%. They still can't tell you what a catch is. So what's this?
Was he in bounds?
What's this done? I mean, it hasn't done anything. Positively, in my opinion. So, yeah, that's where I'd fall out.
All right, before we officially land the plan, I'm going to give you one more internet input. You know what? No, I don't want to piss you off.
No, go ahead.
All right. To be honest, why even shop at a dealership unless you have FU money? Marketplace, we were talking about Facebook Marketplace earlier, will always be superior if you really know vehicles and are mechanically inclined to find and check what you're looking for.
I think he answered his own question. Most people are not highly mechanically inclined. I have no problem. I shop for my cars wherever I can find them. Somebody's house, marketplace, cars and bids, bring a trailer, eBay, dealerships. I'm with them. I'm also very comfortable with the outcomes of these things. To say you don't understand why people shop at dealerships and then list all of the reasons people would shop at dealerships, that's the problem with people. You're mechanically inclined, so you're thinking everybody else is that way. And you're thinking everybody else wants to deal with the issues that may arise from buying something on Marketplace. It is not tough to figure out. The vast majority of people do not get great deals on cars because they're scared of the risk of what the great deal is, right? I mean, it's very basic. If you know all you need to know about an S550 S-Class from Mercedes, you go, I know what that warning light is. This seller doesn't know. I'm going to get a deal, and I'm going to fix that with $300 part and twist it in, and it's going to be fixed. How many people know that?
Also, to be so dramatic about you need FU money to shop at a dealership. I mean, come on, like let's relax a little bit on that.
This is the other thing we get into far too often in the car market. Your financial situation is not everybody's financial situation.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people that overspend at a dealership, and there's plenty of people that have enough money that the dealership is just an easy way for them to buy a car, and they never think about the car payment. They never overspend. They do have plenty of money coming in from their job or their company or whatever. Your situation is not everybody's situation. And that's what we see a lot of people misunderstand in the car market, which is why getting advice from Billy Bob, your brother-in-law, about how to buy a truck is not really ever good advice, because he's doing it from his perspective. And he may have technical knowledge to fix something that you don't. So you go buy this vehicle. This happens all the time, guys. I deal with customers like this all the time. Talk to my dad, and he said to buy this. But my dad does all his own work. I've never worked on a car. Well, yeah, man. So your dad didn't really know what it cost at a mechanic shop to get this truck fixed or this car fixed. Nothing against your dad, but that's what makes it cancerous to take this advice. And what you didn't know is your dad's never actually gotten a deal that the dealership he's been dealing with for 30 years laughs when they see him coming. So you didn't know the backstory here. You just heard one guy's perspective. We try to do a really good job of giving a broad perspective. The dealership puts people's mind at ease. They see a big building. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. They feel like they can, if something happens, I can drive back to it. What are you going to do with that person that wants that feeling and tell them to buy it on Marketplace? Where are they going to drive back to?
They might find a couple of dead bodies in the garage. Like, you don't want to run into that issue.
So, I mean, so for everybody that re-listens or has listened to that comment, the guy answers his own problem in the comment, but doesn't realize he's answered his own problem.
One of the interesting things about that, buying a car and then having somebody on the internet maybe guide you, maybe even stuff we've talked about through a buying process. Our dude, Doug, Bends and Bow Ties, was talking to another creator, Tommy, who runs the Delivered YouTube channel. Well, I follow Tommy, and I've seen a couple of his videos over the last year or so. And in one recent one, he was buying a Civic Type R for a customer. And nationwide, like, they're not rare, but every dealership guy was like, oh, they're rare, the spec, the price, there's about a $10,000 markup on them. He's like, well, $10,000. Like, every dealership I've called, they've had one, and I've gotten as much as $4,000 off. Anyway, long story short, in the comments, it's funny that what seems like average buyers just saying, well, Tommy's just making content. Like, just go to your local dealership and buy the car. Like, why make content about how you're getting money off of a markup? And already I'm like, I'm lost. You don't want to learn how it's easy to get the markup removed.
You're just like the commenter. You answered your own question.
Yeah, I know.
They don't want to learn.
I know.
They are so concerned. The average person, in my opinion, is so concerned with proving themselves right that they don't care that they're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And wrong in the sense of you're getting a worse deal.
Yeah.
And then you're going to complain about the deal you got in 60 days or 90 days.
It's just a cycle.
It's just an endless cycle. And I hope some of our content just gets people to take a breath and do better deals for themselves.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I don't care what you spend on a car. It's your money. You want to overpay? It doesn't affect me. I don't think you have to overpay. But if you're so convinced you're right, I mean, no matter what anybody says, I mean, you have a finance guy at one of the top selling dealerships that puts out content. He gets argued with constantly. You have this guy who's buying tons of cars nationwide. You're going to argue with him. No one is going to say anything that you agree with.
I was waiting for you to be like, you got us who know everything about everything.
Yeah, I mean, they're not, but you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to say anything to change your mind. So for the people that it helps. And for everybody else, they're going to do what they want to do.
Dude, great show. After you watch this on Monday, Tuesday, go watch the AWX acid wheel cleaning. I haven't worked with an acid wheel cleaner since I used to help my dad clean 18-wheelers, which, by the way, I imagine this is nothing like what 18-wheelers used to be cleaned with.
No. This is that stuff was gnarly. I used that stuff back in the day. This is a whole new age with the same power. It's incredible. It's you used to cough when you would use that stuff. I mean, as soon as you start spraying
burn your nose
it'd
hairs
burn
off.
your nose, it'd burn your lungs. Yeah, we've eliminated all of that. So I'm very proud of our team. Like, to be able to build one of these products when everybody else is struggling to build them, I think is pretty cool.
All right, everybody. If you want to chime in, send us an email, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.